Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. We just heard in the previous panel that we didn't have as many IITs as we have now, and it was only post 2014. Both of you gentlemen have been responsible for the development and the creation of two really greenfield IITs and done some remarkable work. May I begin with you, Professor Gonsalves, because I found that some of the initiatives from IIT Mandi, of which you were director for 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, were quite remarkable in terms of the association with the community, in terms of things that were done for constituencies like farmers. You don't normally hear of all this. So could we go over some of that and look at how these new IITs have taken the legacy of IITs as we know them forward into a new era, and what can we possibly learn for this new generation of educational institutions that will come up?
So the purpose of starting many IITs is India has a lot of problems, and we hope that engineers will solve these problems for the country. In fact, if you look today, India graduates about 10 lakh engineers every year, and they go through four years of BTech in order to get this. And yet we find that many of our problems have not yet been solved, and there's a lot more to go. So let's just look a little at a bit of history. The earliest engineering colleges were started only 200 years ago. But engineers have been solving problems of society for thousands of years. Concrete has been around for 3,500 years. And that bridge, that aqueduct you see over there was built 2,000 years ago with concrete, and it's still standing today. The iron pillar in Delhi, 1,700 years old, well before BTech engineering degrees were started. The printing press, Gutenberg, who invented the printing press, was a goldsmith. He was not an engineer. He did not study science or technology, and yet he revolutionized society through the printing of books. So, as we see, for a long time, engineering was done by trial and error, by apprenticeship, learning from a master. And the first engineering colleges came 200 years ago. During the Second World War, there was a big push to introduce science into engineering. There were developments like radar, cryptography, operations research, and so on, which helped a lot in the war. And after that, in the US, universities started to have a strong science base in their engineering curriculum. When IITs were started in the 1950s, the IITs adopted this. Now, the thousands of engineering colleges in the country essentially took the IIT curriculum, but if you see there's a significant difference, the curriculum in the colleges is largely theory-based, whereas in the IITs, we have a lot of practice. So what is the result of this? The result is that today, of our 10 lakh engineers, large numbers are considered unemployable by industry, and if a company wants to develop innovative products, there are only about maybe 30 or 50,000 graduates per year who can serve that need. Okay? So what is really required for a good engineer is the ability to mix science, technology, computation, hands-on experience, and expert judgment all together. Now, for a long time, it was believed that this could not be taught in BTech, whereas there have been some experiments in starting with MIT, also in some IITs and IIT Madras, to see whether we can actually teach all of this in the BTech. In IIT Madras from 1992, the institute has incubated about 230 startups and involving students in starting companies like this. In IIT Mandi from 2012, we introduced a new BTech curriculum where there is project-based learning throughout the 4 years. Starting from first year, students work in teams to take problems of society and solve them. They do reverse engineering, develop their own products. They study the impact of technology and society, in fact, going out into villages, as you mentioned, to understand the needs of the villagers. And to give you some examples, here are some products, prototypes developed by second year BTech students with very little technical knowledge within one semester. A smart cane, a wall climbing Spider-Man outfit, developed at a cost of about 20,000 rupees in 3 months by second BTech students. Now, with this experience of IIT Madras and IIT Mandi, essentially what we've done is that.
Very closely with Professor Ramamurthi, if I'm not
Yes. Yeah. In fact, when I was in IIT Madras for about 20 years, the Tenet group, Bhaskar, Ramamurthi, Ashok Jhunjhunwala and I started that. So recently, based on our experience of mixing practical work, project-based learning in the BTech curriculum, several of us from IIT Mandi and IIT Madras have started a program called LEAP, which is Learning Engineering Through Activity. Essentially, we offer this to colleges, and this is done through the colleges involving the college teachers. So the teachers also learn how to develop products. And well, yeah, it's a set of courses. As you can see, it starts out in the first year, where students do reverse engineering of existing products and improve them. Then in second year, they build their own product to solve some problem of society. In third year, they have internships with technology companies, domain-specific expertise. And in fourth year, they do major technical projects. So this is being offered outside the curriculum to interested students through the college. So essentially what I've tried to do here is, in a nutshell, to say that engineering is a mix of theory and practice. And the practice must include an understanding of society, the needs of society. And what we have been able to show in IIT Mandi and also in the experience of IIT Madras is that it is possible to introduce all this in the BTech curriculum, in the BTech, and have students learn, whereas many students go through a very theory-based engineering, and they actually start getting their practical experience only after they graduate, if they get a job in a good company. So.
But how have your students been doing, sir? It's now been about just over a decade, I think.
Yeah.
So have they gone into industry? Have they started their own companies? What has the profile been like?
Yeah. Well, the profile of the students from IIT Mandi is actually fairly similar to that of the big old IITs.
Yeah.
The majority go into industry. About 10% go for higher studies, some going abroad, some in India, and about perhaps 10% go into civil services, management, and so on. So the profile is fairly similar. There are a few students who started their own companies, and I believe there's one which is a few years old, which is quite successful in solar.
What is it called?
It's called the Solar Labs. They help, they've developed a special way of installation, support for installation of solar systems on rooftops of houses. And IIT Mandi is likely to get a fairly substantial amount of revenue back from the equity that we've got.
So you're now an equity partner in that startup?
Yeah.
I think we'll soon see you on Shark Tank then, presenting a business idea.
Yeah.
So, Professor, if I may come to you and talk about IIT Guwahati, is it pretty much the same model that Professor Gonsalves is talking about, or is it different?
Completely different, ma'am, because you see, IITs started, as he rightly said, 1950s and 60s as engineering colleges. And 5 IITs were there for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
After that, only IIT Guwahati came up in 94. IIT Guwahati started in the city of, north of Guwahati on the bank of Brahmaputra, when the conditions were not right there. People were never to like to even go there because it was insurgency.
Oh yes, of course.
A lot of there was no connectivity. But today, IIT Guwahati has shown to it's a model actually, model IIT, because it is completely indigenous efforts of Indian scientists and engineers to create this IIT Guwahati. Completely unique. And we have mentored newer IITs as well. IIT Patna is completely mentored by IIT Guwahati. IIT Bhagalpur, IIT Manipur, and most of the northeastern NITs are mentored by IIT Guwahati. So IIT Guwahati is only one institute in the entire Northeast 7 sister. If you add Sikkim to it, 8 states, only one single IIT is catering to. So today we have reached the stage of 8,500 students, 450 faculty, and a 700 acres, a beautiful campus. One of the his campus is also very nice, Mandi, in the hilly area. But I'll tell you, on the banks of Brahmaputra.
Oh yeah, what a magnificent river.
One of the very beautiful, very well built. So how IIT Guwahati is different?
Yeah.
So that's what
it seemed like the same model. How is it different?
Yeah, that's what I would like to tell you. See, when we started, we didn't have even any support from any international university. It's all the Indian professors and scientists got together. Definitely, they're all from some of the IITs only. I'm not saying that they just came from the moon. So, but the effort is completely indigenous, and that built a confidence in the Indian educational system that an institute can be grown and become today number 2 in citation per faculty, okay, where research is the major focus. Today, next to Indian Institute of Science, IIT Guwahati has more citations per faculty. This is the QS World Ranking 2022. Okay? And even this year I was looking at the data, more than 2,000 plus publications have been brought out. So research and development is part and parcel of the institute, and where we give a lot of emphasis on industrial interactions. So we have created research park, as very similar to IIT Madras. We have one research park where during the pandemic year we were able to attract 20 to 22 companies, and technology transfers done, more than 25 technology transfer done, all this during the pandemic. So very young institute of 27 years only. See, when compared to the older IITs, we are quite different because it's very young. And let me also tell you, when IITs were started, were basically in engineering colleges until 1990. Today, Indian Institute of Technologies are institutes of Indian technologies. There are a lot of products, technology transfers are happening, and these are all being adopted and given to the society, and we have a close link with the society. Our Rural Technology Center at IIT Guwahati has done tremendous work in modifying the power looms to power looms or semi-power looms, and similarly I can go on actually. There are a lot of new innovations through students and faculty interacting have been brought up. And the placements are at the past. You see, what we are trying to do is we're trying to encourage entrepreneurship and startup more and more. So this year, we have started a school of business. The whole idea is not to create another MBA program. No. It is to create all our 1,000 plus undergraduate students of BTech and B Design to provide an opportunity for them to do a minor in business development, marketing, HR, finance, so that they will become tomorrow's entrepreneurs. And they will be a job givers than job seekers.
Education policy talks about the multidisciplinarity. You were already practicing it at IIT Guwahati and IIT Mandi in different ways.
Yeah.
So, is this, do you think, your lasting contribution to society? Has it changed the perception of what engineers can do in a society, or is there something else?
Yeah. As I was saying, as I said that at IIT Mandi, we have changed the conception of what it is to become an engineering graduate.
Right.
That you need to learn how to understand society, figure out a problem of the society, and solve it, build it, get it working, deliver it to the customers. So all of that which is not being done in engineering education earlier.
Right.
In fact, in IIT Mandi, we have something like about 15 to 18% of the credits is in humanities. Yes. Which is more than in many other places.
No, in fact, I must say that I also dabbled in cinema. Some of the finest film scholars are actually now from IITs, the younger IITs, the newer ones. It's quite fascinating. And they're doing some really cutting edge work.
Yeah. I would also just like to, since today is International Women's Day,
Yes.
I'd like to mention something that in IIT Mandi, we are in a rural area. We are surrounded by villages with a few hundred people each. When we started out, we had some students study the needs of the village women in the area we're in, and they found that the women wanted to get additional skills, they wanted to start businesses, they wanted to improve their livelihood. So IIT Mandi has started an NGO called EWOC, Enabling Women of Command.
Oh.
So for the last 5 years, EWOC has helped about over a dozen women to start their own businesses. These are villages with a few hundred people, so about a dozen
Wonderful.
businesses is a large number. There are several of the young women and girls who have taken computer courses. They've learned spoken English, so their employability is better. Some of the women, for the first time in that area, got registered as PWD labor contractors.
Wow.
Earlier, the PWD labor contractors were all men.
So some remarkable transformations you've seen.
So that is actually transforming the society
Right.
of that area of Himachal.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that something that is happening in Guwahati as well?
Yeah, in a completely different way, because
I believe you have a drone program, you have many such programs.
Exactly. So we are actually taking a lot of technologies to the local.
Right.
We have a lot of reach because all of you know that Northeast is actually bounded by only 2% boundary is common between the mainland India and the rest of the Northeast. Northeast is 98% boundaries are with international boundary.
Right.
Bangladesh, Myanmar, Bhutan,
Yeah, actually,
China.
I didn't look at it that way. 98%.
98% of the boundary is international boundary.
Oh, right.
Okay. So, even though our students actually, we have looked at during this pandemic, where are our students are coming from? We have almost 600 districts of India, we have students from.
They're represented.
Out of 750 are odd districts, 600 from districts we have representation. So that's truly another, in India there.
Right.
We have close to about 8,500 students, I
Right.
told you. So our institute, IIT is actually growing leaps and bounds, even though it was created in an area where there was no accessibility.
So how exactly did it transform that area? You talked about
Exactly.
the institutions you mentored.
Yeah.
What about the communities around you?
Yes, let me also talk about the institution. See, when this land was allotted in 94, it was all marshy land.
Okay.
Next to Brahmaputra River.
Right.
It's only hardly about 20 meters from the Brahmaputra River.
Right.
Mighty Brahmaputra River. Every time, monsoon occurs, 70% of Assam is underwater.
Yeah.
Today, the campus is built so well, not even one road comes underwater. I am a civil engineer. I keep telling this example because our first director was a civil engineer who have built the campus next to Brahmaputra River. It's so beautiful that not even one road comes underwater, but entire 70% of the Assam is underwater every monsoon. Okay? This is the
Why
story.
can't you just export your technology to the
Correct.
rest of
No,
us?
we are trying to do that now. We are working with the state government very, very closely to solve some of these problems, and we are also looking at studies on Brahmaputra River. We have created a Australia-India water center with from Indian. There are 15 universities jointly working on mission water, because today India has we talk about Chennai is running out of water, Bangalore is running out of water.
You have too much of it.
Exactly.
That's the problem with this country.
India has lot of water, but what we are short of is storage.
Yeah.
So we need to create newer storage structures. I think we have forgotten some of our old ancestral practices. So we might have to revive some of them back again.
Right.
So some of those work is happening in the Northeast, closely,
Right.
very closely with the local initiative, whether it is
Okay.
Nagaland or Assam or this Meghalaya.
So do the IITs talk to each other? Do you talk to him? Does he talk to you?
Very
Or do
good
you
question.
just talk to the established IITs?
No, well, there is actually a lot of communication between IITs, and it happens in different ways. For instance, when we have, say, a PhD viva, the experts come from other IITs.
Okay.
So there's a lot of back and forth, informal. There are also formal occasions like all the deans of academics
Right.
and of all IITs meet together, all the directors meet and so on. So there are both formal, but I think the informal is more important. For instance, when some faculty from IIT Bombay came from the electrical engineering department, they visited IIT Mandi and they saw our reverse engineering
Right.
program. They went back and started something similar
Okay.
in IIT Bombay
So
for
that, isn't
electrical.
that supposed to be the Bell Lab model where the informal exchanges
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happen
yeah,
in
that's right, yeah.
canteens and corridors is actually much more useful
Yeah,
than
that's
what
right,
happens
yeah.
in classrooms?
Exactly. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So is a lot of that happening, or is there still a caste system that you have the top 5 and then the rest are sort of
No, I don't. I mean,
not quite?
I agree with you completely
Yeah.
with Gonsalves. There is a lot of interactions happening,
Right.
informal, formal. Okay, I'll give you one or two examples
Yeah.
very quickly. See, for the national examination, I think all of them know JEE or
Yeah.
GATE. It's done by
They know,
IITs
they all,
together.
I'm sure they all take it, and poor things, I don't know how they clear it.
Yeah,
It's
we do it
impossible.
as a, collaborative efforts. You see, each IIT will take the lead, and we conducted, one of the lead institutes this year. Next year will become another IIT.
Okay.
So there is a very formal way of doing it. The another way is, I have also started recently. IIT Council has accepted joint degree between IITs. IIT Guwahati has now joint PhD degree with IIT BHU. This is the very first one, unique. See, we had actually joint degrees with US universities or Japanese universities or, European universities, but we never thought about here. So when we presented this to IIT Council, they immediately accepted it, and we have implemented it. We have a joint PhD students between IIT BHU and IIT Guwahati. So like that, there is a formal and informal collaboration between IIT. As you rightly said, our faculties also move. See, when new IITs are created, IIT Tirupati or IIT Mandi, a lot of faculties from older IITs have moved for their conveniences. So there is a lot of synergy between these institutions.
There's no caste system, no hierarchy.
No, I don't think so.
No. Yeah, there's no hierarchy, and I'd just like to point out that, well, as he said, we are very friendly, we learn from each other. There's also
Competition.
a little friendly competition. He talked about his beautiful campus. This is IIT Mandi's beautiful campus.
My God. You should have got your pictures, see?
I thought
he
you
knew
gave me 4 minutes, so I didn't make the slide.
Yeah,
because I
anyway,
could-
we'll look it up.
Even if he brought his picture, it wouldn't be.
I'm glad that there's this competition. But really, at the end of it, what do we need? We need engineers who are able to solve our problems, as he says. We need people who are able to create jobs for other youngsters. That's what we need, don't we? As simple as that.
No, madam, I
No?
think it's something more than that.
What do we need?
See, I'll tell you, we are going to be the global engineers for the whole world. I don't think we should restrict only to India. See, we are producing almost close to about 4.5 million engineers. Okay, if you look at the statistics,
Every year?
27 million students enrolled in undergraduate studies. About 4.5 million are engineers across. So we are going.
But there's always that questions of employability and soft skills and how equipped are they for the, for jobs. There's that question, right?
Definitely there is a question. That is why, see, these 10,000 students what we take at IIT may not sufficiently, there may not be enough. So IITs are also now going, for example, IIT Madras program on online.
Yeah.
So we're also going online so that we can reach out to large numbers. So even IIT Guwahati is planning to go for online programs where, laboratory component is not much. So initially we would like to start. Maybe we could do much more through collaborative efforts, because there are now 23 IITs. So we can ask the students to go attend their laboratory classes nearby where they are, where they belong to. And then come to this online, this
No,
COVID
so
pandemic
my
has given us an
question was a little different in terms of the employability, because there's a lot of questioning of that, isn't there?
Yeah, so see, the IIT students get a lot of practical exposure as well as good theory, so employability is not an issue for them. Now, when you look at employability for the other,
Colleges,
the other
yeah.
9.9 lakh students, that's where programs like this LEAP, where we work with the
Yeah.
college faculty, we train the college faculty, and then there's a multiplier effect. Another similar program that we are involved in is called ThinkEDU. What we're doing here is that we are taking college teachers who teach computer science, and IIT faculty teach them how to teach more effectively,
Okay.
the basic subjects. So right now we're running We have about 200 college faculty. This program is going on right now, who are going through this program, and they will become better teachers of their subjects in future. So these are ways by which we are improving the education of the other engineering colleges.
But it's still very tough to get in, right?
Yeah.
But that's a challenge, but still, it's possible to do that because of this, online part has come in. So we can actually disseminate a good quality to a large number.
Right.
And also, there are some training programs after their graduation we can include. And also through this national education policy, multidisciplinary culture is coming in. I think another maybe 5 to 6 years, we will be the world leaders even during the quality.
Here's to that. I hope it happens. Any a parting wish for what are the qualities that a good engineer needs to have? 3 good qualities that an engineer needs to have.
So, see one essential quality is a solid knowledge of science and technology, the basics, the fundamentals. Secondly, an understanding of society, being able to figure out the needs of society, to talk to different kinds of people. Thirdly, the ability to work in teams, because any product is multidisciplinary and no one is an expert in everything. See, these are the 3, and of these 3, only the first one is taught in most colleges, but all 3 are needed, and that's what we are working on.
Wonderful. You, Professor?
I say attitude of a student, He should be ready to
do.
He or she, both. Yes, on International Women's Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
thank you.
On all days.
So an attitude should be the one, which takes them to higher heights.
Right.
So they should have a right attitude. And
do you find it in all your students, or do you have to inculcate it a bit?
We have to inculcate a bit. Definitely we have to inculcate a bit, because some of them, as I told you, they come from
very deprived backgrounds also, I'm sure.
Well, they see. A lot of students come from very remote areas, small villages. So they need to be also not only taught in English education, and then some attitudes towards what an engineer should be doing, ethics. All that is very also important, very critical actually.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen. You're creating the future of this country, and thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.